Throat
Cool.
time.
Well, hey guys, how's it going?
Hello.
Good.
We are at RASA Space. We are with the Sunda crew, and it's not long now.
10 weeks, a bit over 10 weeks. Yeah.
How you feeling?
Overwhelmed. We are all overwhelmed. I think
Excited.
now's the time we just gotta get stuff right so that things roll along smoothly. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So now's the stress.
Yeah, it's a it's a big project. I mean, it's a bit of a pressure cooker. Obviously we did the first one in 2023, so that was really tremendously stressful.
But
so
also very amazing. It was
yeah,
very fun.
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
And you're sneaking in an ice cream sundaes before then as well.
Yes, so we.
What do we do? Actually, we're really excited about that one. That one
Yeah.
we've got like one of my favorites of all time. Kuniyuki playing live. This is the first time we're doing live sets at ICS too, so
Yes.
that's crazy. Yeah, and we've got a cool stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just wait and see.
Okay, so
Get your
lots
tickets.
to talk about, lots to get into. Also, like, here's a fun story about Sunda. It's the first one I thought I was going to miss with my old job. I decided to quit my old job 2 days before Sunda.
Yeah.
And after I quit to my boss, I called up Dan. He was the first person I called up. And I was like, can I come and dig some holes?
And
so I
you
was-
did.
Yeah, exactly. 2 days. It was fun.
It was. But
so-
I remember that with your portable speaker at the Nomad stage.
Oh, it was the best. So so thank you. I thought that Sunda was awesome, but we've come a long way. So maybe I don't know, for some people who haven't been to Sunda or considering it, like talk us through what is it like, and how did you come up with it?
Okay, I can give you like the PR answer. So Sunda is a multi-day music festival in Singapore featuring the region's best live acts and DJs. It's basically a collaboration between our collective Ice Cream Sundays and Fufu Creative in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong based.
So they do the Shifumiz Festival, which we've always really loved. And we met Florian from Fufu at Wonderfruit a couple of years back and got to talking, became friends, and then just decided that it would be kind of fun to try something similar in Singapore. Sunda came out of that. It's, in 2023, it was a 2-day festival. As far as I know, like the first big-ish festival in Singapore with camping, so that was one of the things that made it unique. Since then it's kind of developed. We did Road to Sunda last year, which was a sort of mini one stage prelude festival.
Yeah.
And then this year we're doing the 2 stages at Sarambun Scout Camp again. 2 days at Sarambun Scout Camp again, but we're also doing an opening night at Modular.
Yeah.
So sort of like a 3-day now.
Okay, so a lot happening. Let's talk about Sunda this year. Like what's changed? What's different? What's kind of stayed the same? Like, how would you answer that?
Well, we're moving one of the stages out to the open, so you're gonna get rained on if it rains. No, but there were a few kind of things we learned from the first time. So I think one of the things was the sound situation was a little challenging in the pavilion stage because of the rattling roof. So we moved that stage outside. It's a lot more open. We pretty much gonna section off like the huge field. That's the first thing you see when you enter the venue. Yeah, that's exciting. Second thing that's exciting is we're going till 4 a.m. on both days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and you can just stay on site and then wake up and eat and party again. You don't get to do that in Singapore.
Yeah.
You just don't.
And it sounds like you've made it easier for people to stay out late on both days. So talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess one of the big changes is that it's happening on a public holiday weekend this year. So, last year, obviously, we kind of just did it on like a quote unquote normal weekend. So it was a Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think some people had trouble getting their head around like going, so far out in Singapore terms on a Sunday and then having work the next day. And so that was a challenge for a few people, and we got that in the feedback. So, one of the big changes that we decided was, we'll go for a long weekend this time. So now the festival at the campsite is going to be Friday, Saturday. And so then we have the 2 full days. You don't have to worry about work the next day. In fact, you can like have a nice Easter lunch with your family.
No excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean the key thing is like to learn, right? So like we learned so much from the first time. We're still getting it right, but another thing that we learned from people was that people just wanted to bring their own tent. And when they hear there's camping, like they get excited about it, and then they're like, "Oh, what? I can't bring my tent." So this time you can. This time you totally can, and yeah, there's a lot more space to camp as well. We're opening up another campsite within the grounds. So yeah, there's a lot more space.
Yep.
How cool. So, just we're at community night. So, how we've been structuring some of these conversations is like, I don't know, trying to fit within the things that are important for community night.
Yeah,
So, talk me through what community means to you guys, particularly in the framing of Sunda.
To me, it means like what you did for the first time we did this 23. It's the whole idea of like DIY. Let's build this together. Like, I want to get involved. Like, oh, like you want to go, you want to contribute. Come get involved. Let's build this together rather than like, hey, you got guest list. Like
You got a whole driller.
Yeah.
Yes, like that.
Yeah, and I guess you can look at it like a bit more broadly as well. So there's definitely like the Singapore community aspect, but also the sort of regional community as well.
Yeah.
I think is a big part of the festival's mission. It's always been, the ethos of Sunda has always been about showcasing regional talent. So regional artists, musical and also visual artists. And so that's something that we've always tried to retain. This year we've kind of, I would say, expanded our definition of that a little bit, in the sense that maybe 5% of the lineup is not from Asia Pacific this year. Overall, I would say the sort of core mission remains to be like a meeting ground for the different creative communities in Asia Pacific. So, largely Southeast Asia, but also Australia, Japan, and so on, even China this year.
And who are you looking forward to? I know it's a stacked lineup, but give me some of your personal favorites between you.
I can't wait to meet Soichi Terada, to be honest. I've seen him play a few times, and it's always just like the most entertaining set, and he just seems like such a goofy, sort of charismatic kind of guy, and I'm just really curious to know what he's like in person. So I'm looking forward to that.
Guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Danilo's been a hero of all of us for quite a while.
Yeah.
But like, I'm really looking forward to Yusu. I've never heard her play like play DJ live in front of me before, and I'm a huge fan of her radio stuff, her mixes, her music that she makes. Yeah, she's closing out the Jurong stage on day 1. Don't miss that.
What about you?
Actually, in my mind, it was just like Yusu immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I have a lot of her music on my playlist, and I listen to it all the time.
Magical,
so I'm like, she's coming! Yay!
Hey, but also before I forget, I can't wait to see what you and Jamie come up with this time.
Oh yeah.
Because my
It's
God.
exciting.
What they did on the pavilion structure, the first time we did, just blew my mind and blew everyone's mind as well, I feel. Yeah.
I think just going back to the point about communities, like aside from the people coming to Sunda, also just building communities inside our team. Through Sunda, through ICS, we've met so many amazing creatives, and we're constantly collaborating and like wanting to collaborate with new people. And Sunda really gives us the platform to do that, because we have 3 stages, right? We need so much like talent, so many hands on deck. So just bringing like-minded creatives together to work on all these different aspects is also really important. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a giant group project, and if you want to help please join.
Come and dig some holes with us.
And I guess one thing I got not necessarily envious about, or maybe it is envious, is that your like the housing situation for the team looks like a Wes Anderson movie.
Is it?
It looked nice from the outside, but it was
Have you seen it inside?
Grotsky on the inside, man.
It
It's
was-
so old.
No, you can't say that about Cerebral Scout Camp.
I mean,
Cancel.
I love
They're
Sarabun.
renovating it. The
I
last
love
time we
you guys,
recce'd
Sarabun Scout Camp.
The last time we recce'd Sarabun, that little lodge was being renovated. So
We will
Great.
have
We don't
even
know,
better
yeah.
comms now.
Great.
it was
Great.
nice though. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, talk about community. We were like all in that.
It's not very fun
In
sharing a
close
toilet
quarters.
with 5 guys, though. Like, that was not fun at all, I must say.
Yeah, or like climbing into the bunk bed at like 6 a.m. and someone's already curled up
It was
below.
not luxury.
And a symphony of snores.
Yeah.
Symphony of snores.
Oh, the funniest story about it was very hard not to wake people up because you're all coming back from your shifts at like ridiculous times, right?
Yeah.
So like, Bong and I were coming in, I think, on the last day of setup at I think probably 6 in the morning, and Florian was already sleeping in the living room of the lodge. So we were like tiptoeing around trying to find an iPhone charger, and Bong bumps into something, and a tambourine falls on the ground. Like out of anything that could possibly fall on it was a tambourine. It was like, you just hear Florian go like,
Yeah.
sorry, man.
Community.
Sleep, so it's fine.
We were also tired. He immediately fell asleep. It's fine.
It's a nice test.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
Sorry, Flo.
and then what about some of the things that you're kind of doing that are kind of intentional this year to kind of get people together? Whether it's some of the music programming or some of the wellness activities, like how are you trying to enable community at Sunda this year?
A few ways. So I think we're expanding a lot on like the relationships we've started to build. Like you're coming in again with the immersion stuff. That was such a hit the last time. It was a hit at Road to Sunda.
Shout out to Tundra.
Shout out to Tundra. Tundra?
Yes.
Tundra. Brandon's involved again in a slightly larger capacity. He's gonna look after some real healthy food for breakfast, which we probably should have thought more about the first time we did. And some late night snacks as well, stuff like that.
We got more like collective or like more intentional bringing in of the different collectives in Singapore as well. So we've got a few sort of collective slots that are happening. We have a Strange Weather takeover at the Jurong stage on one of the days.
No, at the pavilion stage.
Oh, sorry. Shit. Yeah, sorry. Pavilion stage. We've got civilian affairs and revision music coming in to do sort of back-to-back sets. So just trying to engage the sort of different collectives and people in our sort of extended network.
Yeah, and also kind of just have a lot more different flavors music-wise going on. So I mean, you got bass music, you got house, you got techno, you get strange stuff from Strange Weather. You kind of get I would say you get a much better range of music this time. I just from the lineup, but also in terms of like the overall program. Like I think we learned a bit from last year, and we're kind of intentional about how we do the side program as well.
Yep.
So this time we're gonna start the day with Qigong, on day 1, and then on day 2 we have a movement meditation to start the day. So it's kind of stuff you can just join, just walk by and you see that happening and just join, and I feel like you can foster community pretty well like that. Yeah.
A lot of familiar faces as well.
Yeah, familiar faces because it's day 2 and you've seen them on day 1. They were doing the same thing, and
How cool.
yeah.
One of the benefits of staying on site, by the way, is that you get to experience all that stuff in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're driving from town, there's very little chance that you're like dragging yourself to Sarambun at 10 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just gives you that impetus to actually get involved in everything if you're staying at the festival. So,
How fun.
yeah.
And just thinking about the cultural aspect, like one of our main pillars is like celebrate the culture. You are all involved in so many cultural projects. Like how do they influence Sunda from in terms of all the complex programming, all the decisions that you make?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think in a way, like, Sunda's, I mean, it just incorporates so many different aspects of what we all do, right? Like, I mean, just even on the programming side, right? Like Claire comes in with her company Play, which does programming for, art-based programming, a lot of it aimed at kids, for example. So, she brings that aspect. She also brings like her VJing skills, like that, so. And then obviously there's the music aspect and all the friends that we've made through Ice Cream Sundays that are coming in, all of the different creative partners that we've built up that are coming in to help out on the project. So, yeah, I mean, it does feel like a sort of summation of everything that we do in a way.
Definitely summation's kind of how it feels. Because like for me, the way I approach the local lineup curation and stuff is to kind of program based around communities that already exist. So like, whether it's booking collectives like Strange Weather or Revision Music or Civilian Affairs, or like booking a band like Sappy Chill, which really isn't a band. It's a crew, from Geylang, like that bunch of people like Sadat and stuff. Yeah, all those homies, like, yeah, they're not really a band, but they're a huge community and they're a huge part of our scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Claire, talk to me about some of the things that we can expect around the visual aspects.
Oh.
I was really blown away by the Peranakan Museum last year.
Oh, thank
so,
you.
how the visuals evolving this year?
Well, I think considering that Jurong is the main stage this year, we will be moving a lot of the live liquid light show elements to the Jurong stage. And I think it's also more fitting. Like we've seen, like how it looked like not yesterday, last year at the pavilion, and also like just heard some people's feedback. I mean, everyone loved the liquid light show, but I think it's more appropriate to put it at the Jurong stage, so that's where it will stay this year. And we're hoping to work with a lot more VJs this year, seeing how we can incorporate them into the programming for the live visuals. And yeah, like I'm trying to learn touch designer, so hopefully I can do something more interactive. We'll see.
Wow.
I don't know yet.
And I guess as someone, so I really appreciate all the visual stuff, but I know way more about the music culture. Like, talk to me about like, I don't know, some of the influences that you have, or like where you go and kind of find these people that you're inspired by.
Musically?
Well, I guess the visual stuff. So, like, do you have like visual heroes? Like, if there's someone sat at home, like, how do they even
I think
find
this
out?
kind of ties back to your previous question. I can't remember exactly what the question is, but like just absorbing things and like just, I think, how do I explain this? I think the most important thing as an artist is to constantly be curious and to constantly want to have more knowledge about the world.
Yeah.
Like you need to be curious about everything, not just like music if you're a musician, right? Like every single thing you have to be curious about it. And so that's kind of how I approach the world. It's like this constant desire to learn. Sometimes it gets tiring, but it's important.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say I take my references from a specific place, but like I take it from everywhere. So even if I read a book or if I'm on TikTok and doom scrolling, those are things that informs me, like pop culture references or like going to the museum. All these things accumulate, and I feel like I'm like a sieve. I'm just filtering out these different things, and then the sieve goes into like different tunnels, and then they get like put into different cups. So like all these different cups gets different things from the same sieve, but because of all the different tunnels, they just like mix differently.
How cool.
Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. But yeah,
and
so
how
that's kind of how I approach it.
How do you manage as a creative person with so many things going on? So you got play, you've got the visuals, you've got so many different things happening on site.
So one of my closest friends, Lloyd, he introduced Notion to me many years ago, and I fucking love Notion. Am I allowed to say that? I wasn't allowed to say that.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. But I love Notion, and Notion just organizes my life for me. Like, y'all should all get on Notion.
Okay.
It's the best app. ever.
Not sponsored, by the way.
This is about Sunda, not public Notion.
But
yeah,
open
so-
to sponsorship.
Notion just like it's basically how I organize my life, and then like every day I make a very detailed like half an hour to half an hour list of what I need to do. I get it done. If I don't get it done, I shift it to the next day, and I have like many toggle lists of different projects, and I just check it off. It's like a game, and just keep going and going and going. That's it.
No, I love it. And that reminds me of one of the first times I met Jen, who we do a lot of work
Yeah.
with. I actually have a name, Notion Jen. I was like, oh, I'm speaking to Notion Jen today because it was like basically sorting out all this like
Yeah.
mess of ideas we have. So yeah, huge.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the cultural aspect, like how there's so many DJs this year, so many artists. Like how do you kind of feel like the culture is at the moment? Because there's so many different places we're borrowing from, so many influences, so many scenes. How do you even like unpick the kind of culture that is going to be on show at Sunda?
I think, I mean, we kind of look at Sunda as it's a platform, and there's all these communities and scenes and music that's going on and will keep on going on without us existing. We're just putting it all in the same place. But having said that, we're not just going to put anything there. There's still a sense of curation. There is a story. There is a journey for each stage. So I guess to answer your question, how we think about the culture that we're putting on stage, we're just trying to tell a story.
Yep.
Yeah, and kind of platforming artists and DJs who we think can be a meaningful part of that story.
Yeah.
Make their own story. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And how do you see things these days? Because there's so many different scenes. Like you just got back from Taiwan. I see you guys on the road a lot. Talk to me about like your experience in Asia. Like what things are happening at the moment that you're really excited by. Whether you're putting it on show at Sunda or not. Like help people can understand through your eyes kind of what's going on.
I'm biased, and I love small scale stuff.
Yeah.
Like I love the Baby Wild Pearl days. You know, I still loved it when you guys moved to the second studio, and then it's kind of sad that we're moving out from there now. But yeah, I love stuff like that. So when I see things like that happening overseas, I'm like, yes, because there's so much raw, like expression that goes on in these kind of spaces. At the same time, though, spaces like RASA and spaces like Climax, these people know how to do clubs right. That is also fucking exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Also cool to see all the new crews that are coming up. I mean, I'm from the Philippines, right? And the last time I really lived there was 2016. And it just feels like a totally different world now when I go back. There's so much cool stuff going on. I'm sure there was back then as well. Maybe just wasn't as visible to me. But I mean, it just seems like things are really bubbling up there. Cool venues, lots of cool new crews coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
it's exciting.
ones you'd shout out?
Yeah.
Unknown for sure. I mean, we got yeah.
Emelro and Sanguel,
Yeah.
Miguel.
Yeah, I also went to a Sadomaso disco party the other, maybe almost a year ago. That was pretty cool too. I don't think we have any of their guys playing at Sunda, but I mean, that was really cool. I've heard good things about Smut. Yeah, there's cool stuff happening.
Yeah, and also those guys closed Wonderfruit, so that's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So, and I don't know, from what, some of the things that I love seeing is the artists in and around Southeast Asia, but also getting big gigs overseas. So Sanguel and Dieter getting gigs in Berlin.
Yeah, 100%.
Just really cool to see that like things starting to flip a little bit more. So, tell me some of the hopes that you would like to see from, I don't know, some of the culture you're looking to create at Sunda, some of the knock-on effects that you would love to kind of see happen as a result of the things you're doing, whether it's this year or if we're sat here in 10 years' time. Like what's the cultural impact you'd like to see?
I guess for me, like, it would be nice to just be a place where people can discover things, right? Like, I think, it's not always not everyone really just gets the chance to like travel around Southeast Asia, right? So it's for some people, a place like Sunda might be where you can be exposed to these different regional crews for the first time, and really understand like what's happening in our neighboring countries. And I think that's pretty cool. It's something that we've tried to do to some extent with ice cream sundaes, but definitely like on a
Much more
more volume,
with
with Sunda. And I think that's cool. Like a lot of our friends now are aware of the crews from like Vietnam, Bali, Thailand, and so on. And I think it's a good platform for that.
Yeah.
You don't have to Insta-stalk them anymore because they're going to be all together. I think
Yeah.
that's the huge thing. I think I've definitely got to know lots of different DJs through you all, especially like whether it's your trips or whether it's your parties or whether I don't know. I think it just kind of puts it all into one place. I think there's something about being able to like drift around a festival and like discover things like really naturally that I've definitely come across DJs or people that I wouldn't necessarily be open to. I'm not sure whether it's just like my record collection or the place I go or my friends. Like I think it's just really nice to kind of drift around and like suddenly being like, oh, who's this? And suddenly like jot them down. It's I don't know. There's something about that kind of serendipity that you don't get anywhere else apart from a festival. So
For sure.
super fun. Let's talk about a continuum. Like you guys must have been to some festivals before Sunda. I think we've been to some together, been in around the same sort of spaces together. So, talk to me about, I don't know, this kind of lineage of festivals or things that you've been to, like things that I don't know have inspired you or given you certain memories that you always want to hold on to.
I mean, I guess Wonderfruit's a huge one for like our region. For various reasons. The more involved I get with Sunda, the longer we do this, and the more we get to go to Wonderfruit as DJs and stuff like that. The more I learn like there's a huge web of all of us regionally that are just interconnected, and it's just so nice to be a part of that web. Like, and just kind of showing people here that web exists. Like, I think that's the main thing we want to do with Sunda. Yeah.
And just help some people at home like understand like because there's a lot of work, right? There's a lot of work. There's a lot of hours. This is I think we all kind of see this as like a real test of like how much do you love this. But also I get the impression when we're sat here, right? We did this chat 18 months ago in the old studio, and I hope I'm not overstating this. There was a real question. Well, that was such a difficult thing for everyone to do. It was such a
lost money.
It's such
so
a,
much money.
It's such a volume of unexpected things you guys had to deal with that it wasn't guaranteed that we're sat here today. So talk us through like because you really need to love it to do it. So but help people understand like why you're still sat here, what keeps you going, and what's some of the benefits of like kind of just really getting involved this much.
Sure. I mean, I think for all the difficulties that we had from 2023, I think one of the things that we really took, really got hope from was the feedback that, we got from the punchers. And so, in many ways, like financially, let's be honest, like it was, it was painful, right? Like we don't have investors, right? Like we just sort of, so, it was painful. But it was that feedback. It was the sort of, not just that it was like vaguely good feedback. It was, we were hearing from people that like, we're so glad that something like this exists now in Singapore. And, it just gives you that feeling that like, maybe there's something it's not just about like, how do I phrase? I mean, it's like, you're actually providing something that's genuinely new and appreciated, and it feels like you have to build on that, right? Like you almost feel a sense of responsibility that like now that it's there, you should nurture it. And like if people are if people are giving you that good feedback, then it does gives you reason to believe that like if things didn't go so well in year one, at least you have something to build on, right? There was never a guarantee that we were going to be sitting here, and there's no guarantee that we'll be sitting here again next year. Like, I think, I mean, it is definitely a make or break year for us, I think.
100%. So a friend of mine he came to Road to Sunda. He's my primary school classmate, and like he just bought a ticket to Road to Sunda just to check it out, right? And then he was like, "Yo, who's financing this? Who's funding this?" I'm like, "You, bro, you bought a ticket." Like, this is what we need people to understand. Like, we don't have huge corporate backing. We're doing this together. Like, you wanna get involved? Come and work or buy a ticket, man. We make history together. You know?
That's it. We need your support. Come to Sunda 2025. It will be fun. I guarantee that.
I mean,
Hey, we're not talking about tickets.
just be positive about
Just
about
to
it.
add on to that, I think it's like all in all, there's a community aspect to it, right?
No,
like
100%.
as someone paying audience, whatever, if you want to come, amazing, like fund it, support it, but also get involved. And like I think I see that firsthand from my own experience. Like I'm like one of the last members of ICS, or like I joined way later. Yeah, I joined way later, but like as with every like ground up initiative, there is like problems, there's like you're constantly trying to like get resources and all that, but that's also half the fun of it, right? Like you build relationships and such close relationships with people when you struggle together. And like I struggled, I really struggled, but it was still fun, and I feel like I made a lot of good friends along the way. I know I can count on these people. I mean, you guys. I'm sorry I call you these people. What the hell? But yeah, and then it like now. I mean, initially it was like we're like, what is this? Like, why am I getting myself into? Am I just being masochistic? But now it's like I feel a sense of belonging. Like I feel like I should do this, and I want to like continue helping and like being part of it because it's important. So yeah, like. I don't know what I was getting at, but I just thought I should say that. So yeah.
I think a huge motivator for me to keep going, like personally, is just seeing it in motion. Like for me, like I was so ready to give up so many times in the lead up, like the first time, 2023, right? I was just over it. Like I was pissing people off. I was getting pissed off. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. We paid too much for this. We didn't pay for that, so we don't have that. Like what's going on? And then the festival goes and it's in full swing, and you see people just enjoying themselves in a way you don't see that vibe here. That's why it's worth it. Like it's so good when we get that kind of vibe here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so much to get into there. And I guess this is something that I really like tuning into, is that the more you participate, the better it is. And this is not just like trying to get some like free volunteering.
Although we do have a call out for volunteers. If
Totally.
If you're tight on cash, volunteer.
Please help us.
Yeah, totally. But at the same time, like, and people get really bored of me talking about Burning Man. But I do think that those festivals where you're more involved, you are part of the experience. Whereas there's some other festivals I've been to where there's those people who are like, oh, this wasn't good, this didn't work, this sucks, and like fair, like they're paying for a service, they have a certain expectation. But I feel like this is a bit more blended. Like you guys, like the way people show up, the way this is very community driven, the way this is kind of already like creating new concepts or kind of making these new super bands like Sappy Chill, like I think, I don't know, it seems to be like creating some stuff in real time. Like what have you seen already that's kind of come out of the first Sunda? And are you trying to set something up for the future where like you're trying to intentionally pass some of this knowledge on, or?
I think just to yeah. How do I build on what you were just what you're touching on?
I guess kind of what I see you guys as is I see you guys as like legends in the making, because you know you're too old to be a Gen Z DJ. We all know we all know who the legends are that we look up to.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're kind of right in it. Like a lot of our friends, you're kind of right in the middle of like doing it. So like, how does that feel?
It just feels like we're in it. Like there's no huge like ulterior motive. But I think what's interesting about this Sunda project for me is seeing things kind of emerge, like community or culture. Like in booking someone like Seppi Chill, right? I didn't know it was going to be a super band, you know. And they've done a couple shows at Esplanade, like big shows.
Yep.
I just never knew who was really in the band. And it turns out it's not really a band, it's a community.
Yep.
Like that kind of stuff that just emerges out of this project is kind of what keeps it interesting. Yeah. Even with Strange Weather, I still don't know who's playing when. I know who's playing, but I have no idea who's playing when. Like I think they're still trying to figure it out. So like, we'll just see how this emerges.
Just put their name on it.
Yeah, your name's on the flyer, dude. You gotta turn up.
They're good at what they do, so yeah, something dope is gonna come out of it. Yeah.
What I'm saying is like we're not trying to kind of dictate too much. Like this project is a platform for art, music, culture, community, and it's a great place to see where things are and how things emerge organically in a setting like Sarimbun Scout Camp over 2 days.
Nice. So it sounds like you are more focused on just kind of creating the right environment, creating the right infrastructure, finding the right people, and then just getting out of their way.
Not to say we don't think hard about the music curation or the non-music program or the food and drink even. Like we think pretty hard about that stuff, but it's a festival. Things happen, people meet, new things happen. Yeah, it's just a space to do that. Yeah.
Nice. And how have you what's been some of the decision making behind like which crews to work with, like how what spaces to give them, you know, because we all know each other so well. Like have you gone through that process?
I'm probably.
I think and maybe it comes down to music when it comes to the collectives. Because right now, I mean, we're only really working with music collectives and with some kind of solo practitioners when it comes to non-music program. But also we have people like Mantravine, right? They're playing on day 1, and they're doing a couple of workshops on day 2 as well. So they're so involved in the community as well. And yeah, it's. I think we just look at people's strengths, what they do, and then find kind of the best spot to highlight that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely appreciate this for the first Sunda. Is there so many unsung heroes? There's so many people in the background who are not DJs. They're not artists.
For sure.
Talk to me about those people.
Oh my gosh.
How
So many.
I think we should give a shout out to some of these
Will.
people.
Yeah.
Well, come in. He pretty much dug all the holes.
He was the only one of our friends that knew how to use a hole digger. So he spent a whole day at Sarimbun Scout Camp
Also, huge
digging
shout out
holes
to
in the mud.
Brian Kang, Daryl Sia. Man, they help so much.
I'm scared to give any names because I just know I'm gonna miss someone out.
Yeah, we're gonna miss out some
But
people. But big
there
one,
were
I
a
guess,
huge number of people. Yeah.
Miles.
Yeah.
Miles is a huge one. He's actually.
Yeah.
Well,
Go.
I'm gonna forget people too. But,
That's where you get yourself
But big
in
shout
trouble.
out to
Yeah.
Miles,
Jamie.
man. Like
Jamie for sure.
Jamie,
Yeah.
100%. Man, Duncan was really great too.
Yeah, Duncan. I mean, there's Holland, Diego.
We're working with Holland again.
And there's just so many people that are. I mean, I'm trying to think about this like one Instagram picture that we took at the Hawker Center. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
after
yeah. Like
after we
after-
checked out, like after we'd torn everything down,
Like
we
the-
all went to the Hawker. There was like 25 people there,
Yeah.
and like most of them were not DJs, right? It
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
just so many people behind the
Yeah.
scenes, setting up, doing various different things. I mean, and it's brutal, grueling work. Like,
takes a village,
most
right?
of those people
Yeah.
are sleeping at Sarambun for like a week during.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge. And if you got some people from overseas, like Holland, like help everyone understand, because I think when you go to a festival, you kind of take for granted that everything's always been there. Whereas I definitely had a more of an appreciation with the last Sunda, like just arriving there and just realizing, oh, there's a path here. Oh, we've got to dig like 25 holes. And then seeing it in full flow, you're like, oh, this is magical. Like everything's well lit. Everything's very easy to get around. So, like in those moments when people are at Sunda this year and everything works and everything's magical, it's not by accident.
No.
So, like if you've got some of the amazing structures that people like Holland build, like what's the process to even do that?
Well, here's the thing, like a festival like Wonderfruit, like they get months to build their structures, right? We have a week. We're a pop-up festival. Like we do pop-up parties as ice cream sundaes. We do a pop-up festival at Sarambun Scout Camp also. Like it's the same thing. We just go in on the Sunday and we leave on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And we build up everything and we tear it all down. Like it's quite insane.
It's also super manual, right? Like I remember.
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh my God! There was one day when we had. Remember the pallets? There was like a
Oh my
pallet
God.
crisis because there apparently there's like different kinds of pallets,
so
and we
heavy.
had moved like
Or too light.
30 of.
Basically, we moved all the wrong pallets to the right place, but they were wrong.
Yeah.
So we have to unmove all those pallets and get the right pallets from the wrong place to the right place. So just imagine everyone lifting individual pallets, and there were more than like 100 plus pallets.
Yeah,
And
basically
it's
there
raised
were two
upwards.
kinds of pallets
Yeah,
that we
and
had.
we didn't know this.
Really heavy ones and not so heavy
Luckily, I
ones.
physically cannot even move a pallet, so I didn't do any of the
Oh my
work. I
God.
just sat there and
You
be like,
carried so
move
many
this
pallets.
here, move this there. Thank you. Thank you for moving the pallet.
It's those kinds of things that you get pulled away from. Like you have your to-do list on the week of, and you're just trying to power through everything, and then someone comes in and they're
Can I-
like, "We have a
Hey,
pallet
move a
crisis, all hands on deck."
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
"Damn it, okay."
All right, let's go. Yeah.
And also those pallet cubes, they were fun.
Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
only had you couldn't lose any screws because you only had enough screws for the pallets you had.
Yeah.
That was fun. You got more screws this year?
I mean, we're not working with pallets this year because we learned.
Okay.
Yeah. We've banished pallets from.
No pallets anymore. We all thought pallets was the way to go. It's like, oh, simple, just
Yeah, it
stack
was
the
like
pallets.
affordable
We were
enough.
wrong.
Yeah.
You can
don't just
build
stack pallets.
anything.
They're different
But you
kinds.
pay with your mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your body.
Yeah.
Any inside things you can tell us about things to look out for? Any I don't know, sneaky things that we can look forward to?
Okay. You wanna? Yeah. I mean, there's like one little area that we're adding. So rest in peace to the former pavilion stage, but we will have like some very cute hangout space
Yeah.
for the late night if you need a place to just chill out for a while.
And lie down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. Look out for that. I think people will appreciate it.
If you've been to 2023, that was where the pavilion stage was. We're moving that stage out onto the field. So now we've got this whole giant space, and we're going to do some activities in the day. We're going to have some movement meditation. We got the neon chess guys going from late evening till
Love those guys.
nighttime. And we'll have a really restful place to chill out if the music gets too much for you, like late at night. Yeah. Yeah.
How many of the Sunda team are going to be there in that spot?
I'm gonna want to be there, dude. Like, I don't know whether I'll get to, but I'm gonna want to be there.
We'll probably take it in turns. We'll get like 5 to 10 minutes each.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll see.
sad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lie down, and then you'll get a walkie-talkie. You gotta be here. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I'm there as well. Past 11 o'clock, I'm kind of done.
Yes.
So I'll be hanging out there. Now I know nothing's promised, but this is a really cool project, and it's got such good feedback. It's got so much love going into it that I know that everyone's rooting for you guys. So it's all it's always natural to kind of think of the future because, I don't know, when I think of the things that we do, some of the things we do in the short term are quite painful or they're quite imperfect. And at least for me, some of the things that keep me going is like this bigger thing and or like this thing that kind of keeps me going. Like when we think about Sunda and you guys, like is there a bigger vision? Is there something that you're trying to build towards, things that you're like super inspired by?
Pretty simply, we just want to make this work financially.
Yeah, we want to make it sustainable.
Yeah, sustainable. That's the number one. I mean, and then if you want to kind of expand on that, like inspirations and stuff, like for me personally, one of my favorite festivals is Rainbow Disco Club.
Yeah.
I love that festival because so many reasons. I mean, you can camp there as well. It's kind of a similar format, but they do start earlier and they end earlier, and the programming is totally up my alley in terms of my taste. And it's been going on for 15 years, so the crowd has matured and grown with the festival. Like they bring their kids now. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's
Shout out to Rainbow Disco. I think, I guess one of the other sort of long-term things that just came to me is that, it would be great to be a festival that people actually travel for. You have your Wonder Fruits, you have your Shifumes, you have your Rainbow Disco Club. Like, people from Singapore will fly to do that. I think this is like the first year where we've kind of really pushed for that, and like I think going forward, it would be really amazing to become a destination, right? Like for Singapore to be a festival destination and for us to be a part of that, I think would be massive. I think that would be really, really, really fulfilling.
Super fun. Claire, how about you? What's your Sunda like moonshot or things you would love to see in the future?
I feel like I think of it more in like the visual creative sense.
Yeah.
So definitely like more projection mapping, more projectors, more VJs to collaborate with, more interactive designers, and just I'm just like excited to be able to work with more people. So that's kind of I think it's quite simple, but like that's just what excites me, getting to learn from other people, and that's kind of it.
How fun. Also, there's some big projectors in the RASA back room that they're not
is
using.
it?
So
Wait, what?
when they're not looking, we'll just go and borrow them.
I need to have a look then.
They came with this room.
I need to know what projectors they have.
Yeah, they're massive.
Can we talk about
Thanks,
this?
Kevin.
afterwards? I really want to know what projectors they have.
Yeah. Well, look, I think maybe we'll start wrapping up now, but I guess, you guys won't say this, but I will. It's not that far. It's you guys are doing a huge effort with the buses. I took that bus maybe like 10 times before. So, look, I think anyone sat home that's kind of a bit worried about like how far this is, it's like mentally far because you don't go there very often. It's closer than the airport. It's definitely closer than Wonder Fruit. It's definitely closer than going to like flying to Bali.
Singapore's not even that big, y'all.
Exactly. So, and also Kranji is lovely. It's like being in another world. And really, what you guys put together is super special. Everyone really loves it. And I don't know. It's like I've never hung out with that many friends that often. We get quite close with ice cream sundaes, but just the quantity of people and how much time you spend together, it's like proper fun. It's not all the cheesy community stuff where we all have to kind of talk about it and like all the things we get asked to, like bring your community so they spend more money at my bar. This is like proper community. This is like the kind of stuff that puts years on the end of your life and makes you happy and gives you proper memories. So thank you guys for what you do.
Hopefully this turns into a long-term project. I mean that's my goal. Like, just back to your question just now, right? It's like I want us to last long enough that people who go to Sunda end up bringing their kids to Sunda. huge gathering, see all your friends in one place and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's the best. So,
Yeah.
and I think anyone sat there at home hasn't bought a ticket.
Go on early because because it gets more expensive for no reason, like every festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's I don't know. It's the best thing to do. What are you gonna do? Go to Bali again? Gonna go have a staycation? This is like the ultimate staycation.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun. You laugh so
Yeah.
much.
Get
so,
an A hut. It's actually they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's by far the most comfy
Yeah.
option.
They've also been freshly renovated.
Yeah.
Sarumbun Scout Camp has been on a
Sarumban's been,
renovation spree.
Yeah, we're actually really pleased at all the upgrades that's been happening with
Yeah.
Sarambun. And like, I don't know, I feel like the more we do these kind of things, maybe this is even a broader conversation, but the more we do these kind of things at venues like this, like they stand to benefit too.
Yeah.
Maybe like, like it's ecosystem, building things together.
Yeah, so last time they gave you a new road surface. This time you've got new renovations. So
That was done
Yeah.
by LTA actually.
Yeah.
and just by some luck.
The week before the festival,
My
we had
God.
already purchased 1 ton of gravel.
Here's how much we love what we do and believe in what we do, okay? We bought gravel to fill holes by hand in the street because it's a dirt road. Yeah, we were prepared to do that. Yeah.
We also had pretty long conversations about this gravel road.
Yeah, we like measured all the holes. There was a day where we just walked down the street measuring the holes, so we knew how much gravel to buy.
Yeah, and then we pull up one day and LTA just fills it. Like, oh my God, please do that again this year. Oh my
yeah,
God.
shout out LTA.
Shout out LTA.
Well, thanks guys. This has been really fun. I'm sure the first of many chats with you all.
Yeah.
Please enjoy community night. We're hosting you.
Thank you.
There's
for
no
having
stress
us.
here.
Bless. No
And
stress.
yeah, I can't wait for Sunda. And let's do this all again soon. But good luck with everything.
Bless
and
you, Chris.
chat
Thank you,
soon.
Walker. Out to RASA.
Yes.
Yeah.
RASA.
Thanks,
Thanks
Rasa.
everyone.
Thanks, Rasa. Beautiful.